This portion of the CU podcast is brought to you by RexMD. Guys, sometimes it can be a hassle to go to the doctor. You got to make an appointment. You got to drive across town. And then sometimes it can be embarrassing telling your physician some of the things you're going through. Well, with RexMD, they make it simple because they're all about simple solutions.
RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver to your door. There's no office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple. Viagra can cost around $90 a pill, but RexMD has generic Viagra for as low as just $2 a pill. All you do is fill out a quick medical questionnaire on their website, and a doctor will review your situation and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. Your medication gets shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. It's fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your US licensed RexMD physician anytime that you need to afterwards. RexMD has helped over 300,000 guys get generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. And RexMD just works, and it works the very first night.
Act now. Take advantage of their deal by heading to rexmd.com/CU podcast. Our exclusive deal will save up to 90% off, which is as low as $2 per dose on generic Viagra instead of $90 plus on Viagra. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/CU podcast for up to 90% off plus a free gift. Your partner will thank you.
So, we first talked about the Analogue Duo what feels like probably 2 years ago.
Probably could be a little more than that.
Yeah,
when they first announced it's coming down the pike from our fine friends at Analogue.
The Analogue Duo was announced after the Pocket, and I believe after the Pocket delay, which surprised me.
Sure.
It's a weird time to announce a new item, especially since we were in the pandemic crunch at that point in time.
Sure.
This was obviously they released they announced 2 items in a row that I both really want because they cover my 2 favorite systems, the Game Boy and the PC Engine, TurboGrafx. So I've definitely been looking forward to it. They initially announced it, I believe, $199. The final actual retail price ended up being $249. They also said initially that it would play Super Graphics games. I do not see Super Graphics support on the
docket
on the features list anymore. So those are some changes I noticed. Other than that, though, I mean, I personally have been very happy with my the analog products I have, which is the Mega SG and the Pocket. So I was very excited.
Super Graphics is listed.
Oh, okay, good.
So that's
that's
there.
Cool.
I mean, if you want to play those 6 games.
I'm just saying, as a person like that does mean something to me.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's there.
So
what is the Analogue Duo?
The Analogue Duo replaces a PC Engine Duo or a Turbo Duo. It plays
FPGA-based console.
Correct.
Using original physical media.
It runs CD-ROM, Super CD-ROM, Arcade CD-ROM, HuCard, Turbo Chip, and the Super Graphics games. So it is a completely region-free PC Engine, FPGA with
no emulation,
proper upscaling,
1080,
and it's all in one, and it's new parts. For me, I own a PC Engine Duo R. It has, an old RGB mod in it. This thing's been around the block 100 fucking times, and it still works. It's still kicking. It's old, trusty, and reliable.
Sure.
But I have been eyeing, auctions for probably 4 or 5 years now. Keeping my eye on a good priced PC Engine to have to replace my original.
Looks like you can get a PC before I'll cut you off. You can get a PC Engine Duo tested on eBay around $200 plus shipping.
Is it? Yeah, R is what everyone wants though, because
these are the regular ones, not the Rs. The
Rs and RXs.
The Rs you can get for $265 with free shipping. It looks like on sale. We'll just say $250 range for a Duo R, a little bit cheaper for a PC Engine Duo without the R.
Okay,
what do you get from the R, Ian?
The R is just it's a better caps. It has better. It has
more robust.
Yeah, it's just better built. It has better caps. So it's just more reliable overall. Other than that, it was just a remodel. And then the RX has like blue accents and comes with a weird 6-button controller.
We need that 6-button controller for Street Fighter, Ian.
Well, there were better previous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There are other 6-button controllers.
Okay.
So it's if you have a PC Engine, if you're a PC Engine collector, if the physical media means something to you, this is important because now they're starting to recreate systems that have moving parts that fail frequently. And that's what I have always been worried about with my PC Engine. Not the HuCard slot.
That's fine.
It's the discs. So having a $250 brand new option that comes to you essentially with all the mods that you would ever want on a PC Engine Duo R, because keep in mind, $250 is for the PC Engine Duo R. It's not for your universal mod on your card slot. It's not for your RGB or your HDMI mods.
Not for your, if you need your arcade card on your original PC Engine.
Oh, yeah, and the cards, because arcade cards are expensive.
The arcade's gone up. It used to be like $20-$30, and now it's probably, I don't know, what does the arcade card go for? I'm going to look it up.
Oh, when I got mine, it was, I think I got mine for $40.
But I got mine for $25 like 12 years ago. There's $60 now for a super.
That's actually a lot. They were up to.
So that's the Duo card.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, that's just so arcade's $135 for the $135.
So okay, so that one, the very expensive one, that is for if you put your Duo together.
Yes.
The cheaper one is for if you have the Duo because it already has the built-in.
Yes.
So that one is cheaper.
Yes. A Duo is a 3.0. Otherwise, it's literally a 1.0.
And my understanding is that one's cheaper because by the end of it, most people just had Duos and they could use the cheaper one.
Overall, though, on top of the mods, you're spending $60-$100 just for the extra card to play all the games.
And if you have ever been interested in playing the Super Graphics games, that saves you the price of a Super Graphics, which is like about another $150, I think.
And you can
if not more.
And you can put the Super Graphics ROMs, I believe you can put that on the Crix EverDrive too, if you want. So
there you go. I mean, it's a one-stop solution for a system near and dear to my heart.
And it has the Bluetooth controller capabilities as well.
Yeah. Let me talk about things I don't like.
Well, can I talk about things I like?
Sure. You go first. I thought we were joint talking about things.
Less moving parts on this. There's no tray that pops anymore, right? You put it in the front. It's a front loading CD, I believe.
I kind of don't like that.
It's less.
Do you like that?
It's one less thing to worry about. Not that.
No, I think the auto feeder is one more thing to worry about as opposed to just a mechanical lid.
But the lid can be springy. Okay, that's fine. But it looks the same though. I mean, they kept the same.
Yes, they kept that bump.
White or the grayish black. You wanted the white. Grayish black. And by the way, you can still pre-order, so they didn't sell out immediately, because we're not in a post-COVID world, but manufacturing wise, we are way closer to where we were before the pandemic in terms of turnaround times on production and getting these things to make these things. That's good news.
We also have to be honest, not as popular of a system as everything else they've done before.
Yes, that's also we don't know how many they're planning on it, but the fact that this is more like an open pre-order, that's good.
NES, everyone knows. Super Nintendo and Genesis, everyone knows. Game Boy, I think a lot of people liked all the additional options, but also I think one of the things that really sold the Pocket is it's fucking gorgeous. It's a gorgeous, interesting piece of technology with a beautiful screen, and I think that appealed to people who are just gadget heads in general.
Sure.
And now you have this, which is the one I'm probably most excited about, but it doesn't appeal to even a tenth of that audience.
No. They have an 8-bit Duo controller that they're offering, through Bluetooth with the turbo buttons for 1 and 2, no 6-button one. Well, that's fine if you're into that. It has a wired PC Engine port on the side. Next to, which I like, the CD audio. They included the 1/8 out with the little independent little wheel for the volume.
Yeah, that is kind of
They did not have to do that. I like that they did that.
Yes.
2 USB ports on the back, so you can use a USB wired controller. I would think 90% of people would use a USB wired controller that they have laying around. It's not. I mean, you can get a PC Engine controller or a Japanese controller, but honestly, the D-pads are not as good as a regular D-pad to me. It's fine. I don't like the circular D-pad attached because Nintendo had they had a patent on the we'll say the naked D-pad. They think they still have that patent or finally ran out.
No, they don't.
I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago. But anyway, the point is that when it came out, the Genesis D-pad had to be different. The TurboGrafx had to be different because Nintendo owned that D-pad, the OG D-pad going back to the Game & Watch. Anyway, so 2 USBs in the back. You are not thrilled about that.
I'm not thrilled. I hate this, and it's just a very weird design decision to me. The USBs on the back, fine. You can get all sorts of long USB cords. A lot of things come with long USB cords. I really don't like hooking up controllers to the back of a system, though, and then dragging wires over. I've never understood that decision. And other people have done it. But I really hate the controller port on the side, and it's at the back. PC Engine controllers are notoriously fucking short.
Well, they can't put it in the front. There's no more room in the front because of the front.
They could have moved a power button to the side.
Would that be weirder to put the power on the side?
No, absolutely not. They just wanted some sort of extremely minimal front.
They didn't have real estate, it looks like, looking at the front.
Yeah, of all the places you could put it, even put it closer towards the front, but that back right corner, that drives me nuts.
I really would want to know the business musings about why they decided on the front loading versus the pop-up top. Like, what was the complication with that? Maybe there's something. I think it's just fanciness.
You think I think this is design. I think this is Apple's style design, where design trumps everything else.
Okay,
I do.
They wanted to keep it. Maybe, you know what? They probably say it's not separate mold. They save money on molds. I'm just saying they do. It's one piece versus a separate piece.
Okay,
it is.
There's that.
It's easier to make it.
But then, how much do these? But how much do the front loaders cost?
I have no idea. But I'm just saying, like, it's probably cheaper to have one. Stuff going on?
No, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Very intently.
It is probably cheaper to have one piece of plastic versus
probably
multiple, one less. Yeah, I think the price is great for something like this.
I think it's fair. 2
different colors, that's fine. Ian likes the whiteness. I like the darker on this.
We go with the respective regions we collect for.
There's a SD card slot. I'm sure at some point this will be jailbroken. I'm fairly sure it would be by the community.
Well, and that's where it gets pretty interesting, I think.
And that's what leads to future potential products we'll talk about, though. So yeah, that's what it is. I'm excited about this. I do have an EverDrive, a Crix EverDrive. I've never actually used it before because I never saw the need to. But I want to bring out TurboGrafx 16. I have most of the games, but it's cool. It's cool. That's probably how I'll be using it. And most people would probably just say, I'll just get an EverDrive if I don't have the set. Let's talk about, though, they decided this also be the time around here where they're finally going to offer the adapter.
No, they've offered them before. I ordered them a year ago.
Okay, you haven't got them yet. But
no. Yeah, I think they just reopened up the orders.
Okay. So the adapter packs for the Pocket. The timing to me is weird. I didn't know they were available before to finally get these other 3. So as always, at the start, you can get the $30. You can get the Game Gear one at the start. That was available from the get-go.
Yeah.
The other ones weren't for, I guess, a long time. The other 3, Lynx, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Turbo/PC Engine. Now you can get them. So I understand it's a business. I understand you don't want to cut in probably too deeply to people that want to get the Duo, but not having the ability to buy the adapters separate versus a 3-pack, I think that's a little bit too far for this, especially since these are 3 radically different handheld consoles, and you can probably find someone that's a fan of all 3. That's the odd exception when it's like these are 3 really disparate handheld systems, where you can picture someone really being into the Atari stuff and the Lynx and grew up with it, and they would want that. Me with the Turbo, I'd want that, or I've discovered some Lynx stuff, but I know nothing about Neo Geo Pocket Color, for example. It's going to be tough to land all 3. I would have loved to have the option to buy them piecemeal. I think that's not an unreasonable ask for that. So now I'd be forced to buy all 3 for $100, and then one will collect dust. That's all.
Well, I mean, the only good thing I can't defend that decision at all. I think it's dumb. It's very dumb. The only thing I can say is I do think that there are more people who are going to want all 3 at once than you think, because this is the sort of item that attracts the sort of person who wants all 3 at once because they're playing these games. There's two groups of people here. There are the people who are buying this thing, jailbreaking it, loading it up with ROMs, and using it as a mister. And then there are the people who are buying it and they're buying it because they have these collections, because I think it's all or nothing. I actually think the person, other than the price, I think the person who's going to waffle on it because they don't like one of those is fewer than people who are just going to go, I don't need any of them, or I need all of them.
I think there's not that many people that are going to have robust collections of all 3 of those systems. I just think there's not going to be that many people overall.
Sure.
I mean, I don't own Neo Geo Pocket Color games. I think I buy by accident when I find them.
No,
I think
you
I
should,
do. I'm just saying it's hard. What I'm saying is it's hard
yes, to find someone who has all three, but I think
it's hard to get ingratiated with all three of those consoles naturally.
Sure.
That's my point. Especially since one wasn't here.
Sure. Okay. Which one?
Oh, the pod color was. I mean, it came out here, but it wasn't like no one knew about it.
Oh, but I mean, it did make it.
Go to Electronic Boutique by accident. And you see it next to the imports section or whatever. Like, there was no campaigns to sell it here.
I think a lot of it, though, is not so much nostalgia. I think it's people, like I said, who have this. And for me, like, I own one Lynx game. I want the Lynx adapter because I will now be able to pick up interesting looking Lynx games and play them.
And I own like 30 Lynx games, and I think it's a cute little console.
But anyway.
Anyway, or I guess you can always there's flash cards there is a flash card, I believe, for Lynx. You can tell me if there's one for Neo Geo Pocket
There
Color.
is.
I have no idea.
There is.
And obviously there's one for TurboGrafx. So anyway, yeah, I think it's a great idea, the Duo, going back to the Duo. In the future, that's where it gets interesting, because now they've dabbled with disc consoles. Now we open up the next generation PlayStation, original PlayStation, Sega Saturn can possibly be in there. Now we're in an interesting area where it's like, wow, will they be able to do an FPGA for Saturn? Are they working on one? Are they working on an FPGA for PlayStation? I think that's
if they do, how much further do they really need to go with hardware, unless collectors want hardware that looks vaguely reminiscent of what they remember? Because I don't think there's, as something like Retro Blocks, or whatever the fuck it ended up being called.
Polymega.
Seriously, I couldn't remember there. They're using one disk drive for multiple games.
Yes.
You can use the same disk drive over and over. Can you just load this FPGA onto the system over and over again?
Well, that's the thing. Would they get in the business? I don't think they get in the business offering an FPGA add-on versus just getting a new piece of.
I don't think they would either.
Console.
Doesn't mean someone else won't, though, or can't, or it won't be hacked.
Well, like I said, but someone's got to develop those FPGAs. As far as I know, a Saturn one probably doesn't exist, since the emulation isn't perfect on that.
Right.
So the FPGA would be harder.
But basically, I mean, we are getting to the point where Analog is basically going to, I think, and honestly, I think it might be what they do next instead of doing this piecemeal, is they will release their version of a Mr. CD-ROM system, or something like that. Well, I don't know, because they always focus on playing the original hardware, but I think they also realize what these things are used for by a lot of people.
If I had my druthers, I think we see Saturn next. I think they do an FPGA breakthrough made with Saturn or something, and then you'll see that. I don't know. I don't keep track. Don't scream at me if there's an FPGA from Saturn already exists. I have no idea. I don't keep track of that.
I don't think there is, but there are ODEs which have largely, that's kind of fixed that problem.
My prediction, Sega Saturn, you'll see it in a year and a half. There you go. That's my prediction.
Okay.
So, not knowing anything. I don't have the skinny on that.
I don't either.